bit.
Almost na Bruce ukitaka kuchange shot niambie. Change without kusema. Muna request shot change. Kabla mchange shot na request. Aya, ngoja. Aya, Bruce. Bruce, acha almost nikuchukue emotionea. Atarudi kwa Nevo hapo.
So our Nigerian brothers in the house, you are the one who hits this industry very well, right? So let's have some few minutes for that, then we move on to the next thing. I want us to somehow we need to sweat a little bit. It's a bit cold here. So let's warm up a little bit and then we good to go. So this one, if you are a millennial, the other generation before the millennial, and even the current one, they're good.
Aya, sasa naenda kwa Bruce sasa. What's the change kwa Bruce? Aya, Bruce tuko kwako.
Yes.
Pole sana kama ni kupanda. Pole sana
kwa delay ya 2 seconds.
So aya, Mosi nitakuja tuende kwa Mosi hapo.
Sonien.
Sasa tuende
Nini? Lothazi nakata kuingia.
Kama tunakucheki lakini focus iko nje.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You can appreciate yourselves. It is so hard to make professors and doctors to dance. Thank you very much once again for dancing. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of our summit. I hope you were able to learn a lot from today's conversations. And we have the virtual speaker already set to start us off this morning. And before I just introduce him, I know that he's ready for me to confirm. Awesome. So let me allow him to introduce him this morning. And his name is Mr. Mensa Giamplero. I hope I pronounced that very well. He's the Senior Manager, Partnerships and Innovative Finance at Alliance University. And this morning, we are privileged to have him. He will be speaking on building sustainable and impactful innovation ecosystem. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we invite none other than Mr. Mensa to come and speak to us. You can hear us, please. Awesome.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So, colleagues, good morning. And I feel the vibe there and the energy. I wish I could have been there in person. So, let me start with my note and thank you again for inviting me. I wish I could have been there with you in person, as this agenda speaks to one of my biggest interests and passion. And I also
saizi ni Zoom. Unaweza lock to breast. Saizi ni Zoom. Ona huyo jamaa anapresent hapo. From lock to camera breast. Hata recording watch. Tuta record hii.
In another part of the world research
okay.
translation
Inakuwa
and research
directed mrecord
collaboration
tu
is
cards,
gaining an important
mrecord tu cards video za watu hapo kidogo kidogo, record
let me
tukikata,
start by
record
saying
tukikata.
that I believe that over the years, this annual summit has become a cornerstone for advancing Kenya innovation at scale. And it does not only bringing together policy, engagement, entrepreneurial leadership, and critical vision for supporting commercialization, but has been also a catalyzer for the entire region.
Hiyo kamera moshi siende
Really
wide.
place for
Two shot, three shot.
ecosystem, but also
Ikienda wide haiwezi tumika.
so
Inakuwa
this
soft
is
shot.
not congratulations to Dr. Tony and for the leadership of and the work is doing through this number of activities. Now, this year's theme is catalyzing innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem. This is not just a title; it's really a call to action. And as I was saying before, this is something that is pretty much aligned in any government interest to support research, translation, and valorization mechanisms. Not because this has not been happening in the past. I believe that this has been always there.
Iko chonjo sana. One shot iko chonjo sana. Inaiva.
There are many more reasons why we need to bring solutions, promising solutions that are currently waiting on the shelf and desk in order to actually be translated into viable product. And this event reminds us that each of us in the room and beyond, and the connection play a critical role in shaping a future where innovation drives sustainable socio-economic development. As I said, not only in Kenya but across Africa and beyond. Because I'm a strong believer of the interconnection, the collaboration, not only within a specific country, but across countries and regions. And I will give you an example later. Now, what brings us together today is an interest and shared priorities, such as co-designing solution, fostering entrepreneurial mindset, embracing open innovation and industry collaboration, valorizing science, empowering major scientists, advancing through fostering of research and innovation. While these might appear as a big concept, they are in fact deeply interconnected. At the core, they reflect a common commitment to innovate, deliver, and create impact where it's most needed. Yet, we know this is never simple, right? Now, we are all into this space. And in order to move science from lab to the field, need a supporting ecosystem. Of course, into solutions.
Jitu hii at least tufanyake iongezeke, lakini niache hii baki, si ndio?
Sectors that we can truly enable scientists and innovators to scale their effort and today I have privilege to speak on a topic that is both timely and deeply important: building sustainable and impactful innovation ecosystem. So, by definition, an innovation ecosystem is a living, dynamic network of actors, individuals, organizations, and resources that work together to create a scale. Think of it like a natural ecosystem where each component, from university, research institutions to government bodies, investors, industry, and individual innovators. The health and the impact of the ecosystem depend on their interdependence. When each actor thrives, collaborates, and feels the value of participating, the entire ecosystem becomes more vibrant, resilient, and capable of meaningful change. In our context, the key players make the ecosystem vibrant and resilient, with relationship among these actors, which could be through the flow of knowledge, resources, and trust that we are building. So this includes a number of institutions and players. So let me start by naming a few. When we talk about university, there are a lot of universities and research institutions that are foundation of knowledge, investing in talent that goes far beyond simply producing innovation. Let me share an example from the Agri-Tech Innovation Challenge, a program that we have delivered in Kenya through the Accelerator Impact Hub, which is one of the CGIAR effort on the ground. So through this initiative, we can say the multiple innovation emerging from Africa. One was government, we are very familiar from the Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Ito-san, nano, encapsulated globally, often an alternative to conventional, often ineffective drug. Another came from Daystar University, where researchers developed soga parviflora as a poultry feed that strengthens climate resilience while reducing production costs and increasing output by more than 20%. So both of these solutions focus on animal health and feed were accelerated through this Accelerate Agri-Tech for Kenya Innovation Challenge, showing how partnership between academia and industry can effectively drive impactful innovation. The lesson is clear. We need to see more research accelerated and translated into solutions that meet real market demands. Now, let me stop for 1 second here and add a bit more. Because when we originally designed the Agri-Tech for Kenya Innovation Challenge, we were working with a number of partners, and I will give more details also later. But what was important for us was to build a coalition, a consortium of partners that could share the same mission, identify solutions that would address a real market problem. And this was something peculiar because what we were looking at were solutions that were somehow stuck in this early stage, pre-commercial stage. Solutions are usually remain because of lack of support, lack of capital, lack of skills and support from the other institutions. So we were really trying to identify these promising innovations, and we will go more into it. By going back to the ecosystem, we have also the role of innovators, offer entrepreneurs or researchers who are at the heart of the ecosystem. They are engine. They're constantly creating new solutions to address challenges, which we would like to view as opportunities within the ecosystem. And then more and more, we see these purpose-driven scientists. They are so passionate, so driven by creating solutions that are going beyond knowledge accumulation or the fact that they need to publish a research paper. These are researchers that think with a different lens. They start with the end in mind. They start thinking about what is the solution I can bring to the market. So it's a different way of seeing research at the moment. So, and it's a big opportunity because we can see many more ways of addressing our challenges. Now, another key player is the industry, with its business from micro and small, medium-sized enterprises to large corporations. They are crucial for uptake innovation, testing, validate, commercialize, and reach customers and beneficiaries and create economic value. This can be strengthened, for instance, in Kenya through strong collaboration with actors like the agricultural sector network, which is, as you know, part of the KeNIA private sector alliance. Now, we have another actor in this leading ecosystem, and they are the enterprise support organization. These are organizations that support business, help incubate, accelerate, and then assist, and we need specialized competencies that can really ensure that solutions and teams are accompanied throughout the process of developing and deploying innovation. It's not just a one-time event where we have a nice and polished days of activities, but it's a process. It takes patience and it takes resources. Now, we have two more, and then one is critical, and is the government program, because through policy, regulation, and funding mechanisms from government agencies and other parastatals, which create an enabling environment for innovation. So we support for this, with new policies and mechanisms to attract investment and help
startups to establish and incorporate their solution. Another role is for the investor. Investor, we have so many different type of investors that invest in different phases of product development. Among many, we have venture capitalists or angel investors and development partners that provide essential funding needed to turn ideas into viable business, but also business to expand in different regional markets. And let me add here, there is something that connects to what I was saying before. Focusing on early stage innovation requires a particular kind of investors and investments. You need those that take risks and trust things and invest for those that make, they have a vision, but it's not always the case. And as a result, many solutions that could actually be supported by a bit more of patient capital or more a bit of risky interest in a higher risk could actually bring to very promising solutions to market. Now, at the Alliance of Bioversity International and Ceil is one of CJR Center. We created the Accelerator for Impact platform 4 years ago, a venture space designed to pioneer new models that connect science with markets, supports local ecosystem, and foster close collaboration with industry. And we firmly believe that a vibrant and resilient innovation ecosystem can only thrive through strong relationship among its key players, enabled by the flow of knowledge, resources, and trust. And we invest a lot in keeping partners close to us. It's a way of nurturing long-term collaboration. It's not a project base, it's a current effort, system effort that we have and adopt in our organization. Since then, since the launch of this project, the Accelerator for Impact platform, we have launched 9 projects that are meant to support early stage innovations across Africa and beyond. So we've been operating in Uzbekistan, Egypt, Morocco, Colombia, Kenya, Rwanda, Tunisia, soon Tanzania, Zambia, and Malawi. We are soon coming up with new projects in Ghana and Benin. So there is an increasing demand for activities that help to connect this research with market. That is very high demand. Now, in each country that we have worked hand in hand with local and international actors to define project priorities and jointly accelerate the scaling of impact and the science-based agri-tech solutions that we are working with. Now, why I believe this type of projects are gaining a lot of traction is because we co-design, we build solutions, we build projects together with partners. We have a number of consultations, we engage bilaterally. We try to understand what's the right fit, what sort of solution they are looking for in order to address specific problems that they are looking for. And this is probably the key of success for a number of activities we are running, because we are at the end able to select innovations that then they fit, let's say, for purpose. They fit exactly what the market is looking for. And then we are able to match demand from market with this, actually the offer of the innovators. Now, this is the kind of impact we must replicate at scale. There are many ways. This is not the only model that we should be looking at or we should explore. We need to create many more. So how do we move from a collection of actors to build a truly sustainable, inclusive, and impactful ecosystem? So I believe that in order to achieve this, we need a deliberate effort to engage stakeholders and have a multi-phase approach through probably 3 main points. For sure, we need to work on strengthening academia and industry linkages. So we need to create stronger, more direct pathways that bridge the gap between knowledge produced by university and its application. And this can be done through probably, 3 other sub-area work, right? So we need shared research, technology transfer, and talent exchange. So for shared research, a bit of echo. I don't know why. Hello? Can someone help me? There's an echo here. All right, I think I fixed it. So we need joint research projects with industry, and there are more and more agri-food companies in our case that are looking through open innovation model to work more closely with university and research institutions. I like to say that these large corporate or agri-food companies in general, they like to cherry pick solutions from the market. That's the beauty of it. They tend to work with amazing teams out there. As you could see, the R&D model in large corporate has been evolving in the last few years. And this is allowing a number of startups that are emerging from research institutions to work more closely with the industry. But we need to strengthen this. This shouldn't be like an approach where we see this once in a while. We need to have this more systematic. This should be considered as one of the priorities. Now, what I noticed that we need to strengthen also, and this is the point, is our technology transfer office. I often struggle, to identify who is the person in charge for technology transfer in a specific university. Or I struggle to see the right level of competences in a university. When a technology transfer office is key to connect the research with market. So we need to have the right way of assessing or asset evaluation. We need to have the right network of partners. And this goes through a number of activities that need to put in place to strengthen this type of resources in a specific context and institutions. Now, another point is the talent exchange. We need more collaboration across actors. For instance, I like a lot this model where you second staff in industry and researchers working in a specific company, and I have other professionals coming to research institutions, or for instance, having a large corporate hosting a team of researchers that are eventually testing and validating their innovations on the ground together with the industry. So we need this kind of mechanism that can help the talent exchange and address this real business, this real world problems. So the second point is catalyzing strategic funding and policies. Innovations require resources, business and finance, and technical scale. So while grants are important, a sustainable ecosystem needs to diverse funding sources. Therefore, they need to lay groundwork for structural innovation fund to support early stage innovators. At the same time, government needs to create policies that incentivize innovation, reduce bureaucratic barriers, and encourage investment. We cannot consider an innovation at scale by providing additional grants. It's basically a suicide for any solution. An innovation needs to be viable. The solution needs to be able to attract and be competitive in the market. And we often don't look at this aspect. And this is also what I see in the public funding space. We tend to keep investing grants and to support the scaling of innovation that, without considering what would happen if that grant will not be there. Would that innovation be sustainable in the market? Would they be competitive with the other solutions that are available in the market? Now, last but not least, is the embracing diversity and inclusivity. So strong innovation ecosystem require a diverse wide range of stakeholders from different actors, background, and geographic location. We need to ensure that innovators from all walks of life, for youth, women, and those in rural areas, have access to resources and support they need to scale their innovation. This will not only make the ecosystem more resilient, but ensure that the innovations we create are relevant and impactful to the entire society. Now, this is an ongoing journey towards building a sustainable impact for its ecosystem, requiring vision, dedication, and most important, collaboration. I've seen and witnessed the progress made by the Kenya National Innovation Agency and its partners, from the establishment of the Kenya Network of Entrepreneurial Leaders, a platform that encourages and grows institutions to develop, promote, nurture, and drive sustainable innovations and entrepreneurial ecosystem, to the adoption of the entrepreneurial institutional maturity framework, targeting university to evolve into dynamic hubs of innovations and entrepreneurship, to developing the Kenya 10-year innovation master plan. And this shows that we are on the right track to achieve our goal. So let us continue to work together to create this ecosystem that will foster economic growth and build a more innovative future for all. Again, sorry for not being there today. I have a colleague of mine who is in the room, is Nekesa Wafula. She's there. Please, we are happy to establish and learn from each one of you and build this connection and ecosystem that we all need to design and develop and deploy projects in support of innovations that are emerging from our research and universities. Thank you all, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Menza, for that those powerful insights on sustainability and impactful innovation. So I don't know if you have 1 minute, we can pick a question from the audience. Just one person who has a question, maybe to Mr. Menza from the audience. And I know Nekesa is here. Nekesa, where are you? By show of your hand? Oh, nice. So she'll also support just in case of anything. Any question from the audience? Yes, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My question is, you tried on the idea that trying to focus research on problems that exist, right? Sort of you drive research based on the existing problems. Then you also mentioned about involving industry. My question is, do you have forums where industries can present problems so that then researchers can be guided on those research issues? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Menza?
Could you please repeat the last part of the question, please?
Okay. So do you have forums in which industries could present problems to researchers so that then researchers are guided on what to research on? Thank you.
All right. Yeah. This is a good question. There are, I think, probably two ways. Two ways that are driven by two different forces. On one approach could be that the research institution, the university, takes proactive role to engage with the private sector and establish collaboration and establish a partnership that because they see mutual value in collaborating, because unfortunately the private sector is quite opportunistic in the way they work. They know what exactly they are looking for, and they tend to scout for those type of solutions when solutions might be available, or they start with and partner with a specific research institution to build a solution from scratch. There are many examples, and the right term to explain this is the venture clienting. When you have private companies knocking the door of a specific research institution and trying to set up this mechanism. But my recommendation is, and this is what we also do with the private sector, is to create a moment of consultation. You open the doors. The private sector needs to know what is available in terms of competences, capabilities in a specific institution. So you need to create a moment of and opportunities to engage and be open. This will lead to the creation of that then lead to research, specific research projects that eventually lead to the creation of a venture and so forth. Now, on the other hand, we have the private sector. The private sector is now scouting, and just yesterday I received an email from a very large player. I will not say the name, but this is a global player in agri-food industry. What they are doing is to establish an open innovation hub. All they are trying to do is to scout at the global level solution that can address context-specific problems they have in the different countries and regions where they operate. It's fantastic, And this is where you need to connect what your researchers, what your engineers are working on with these opportunities to connect. And these are mechanisms called open innovation. I'm sure you are very familiar with this, but there are so many. There are so many out there. And I hope I answer your question.
Thank you so much. I think that is well elaborated. Thank you so much, Mr. Menza. Let's appreciate him with a round of applause, kindly. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, I just want to call upon the next speaker. But before I do that, we all know that this summit would not have been possible without the support of our sponsors and partners. And this morning, I just want us to acknowledge all our sponsors and partners, the ones you can see on the screen. We have the UK International Development. Can you appreciate them with a round of applause? We have RISA, appreciate them also with a round of applause. We have British Council. We have KIW. Let's continue appreciating them. We have NRF. We have National Commission for Science and Technology. And also we have our technical team, the ideas. Let's appreciate them for the wonderful sound system in the room. Awesome. We also have, that one I really keep forgetting, the Lemelson Foundation. Lemelson Foundation. Sorry for that pronunciation. Them very much for their support and for being partners in this. Now I want to call upon Dr. Emmeline Skinner, the British Council, to come and take the next session. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for her, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emmeline Skinner. I'm actually not from the British Council. I am from the British High Commission, which is also known as the FCDO, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, or UK International Development. I realise it's a bit confusing because there are many names. We work very closely with the Council, and I'm delighted to be here this morning to be opening a session. We've just got 40 minutes. It's going to be short, sharp, but hopefully very engaging and interesting, where we're going to showcase some collaborative work that we've done as the UK with the British Council and with KeNIA and with a group of dynamic leading universities to develop institutional entrepreneurial frameworks. And so today we're going to be sharing some of the stories about this partnership and the journey that we're on, working together to collaborate, and how do we build a more entrepreneurial ecosystem. We're really proud to have been partnering with KeNIA on this, and it's part of a longer journey of partnership where we've been working together over many years to build this kind of research and commercialization ecosystem. That started with the work that we did through ACTS. Okay, sorry about that. Where we started out with 5 universities that we supported on institutional support for commercialization. We then worked closely with KeNIA on the development of the 10-year innovation master plan, and we're now really excited about this latest phase of work where we've been working. Now there are 25 different universities that have been involved in this, And I think yesterday, some of you saw the video showcase, The Stories of Change, where we saw about the kind of tangible impact that this work is already having. And today will be an opportunity to actually hear from some of the Vice Chancellors themselves to actually learn about the work, that the tangible changes that we are seeing in their institutions and the different pathways that this takes. And I think the reason we're doing this as the UK is we recognise that universities are really the drivers of innovation. They're the hubs where this research needs to start. Without universities, we can't have innovation. Without them, we can't have growth. And we won't have the job creation, the sustainable development which we want. So I think this partnership is really key, and we're really excited about the work that's already started and about the potentials as more of you get engaged. I think as we heard yesterday from Prof. Hutchison, if you're not in the NEO, where are you? This is the future, and we know that this is where universities need to go. And we're really excited to see the change that's already happening here in Kenya. And already what we're seeing, we're already seeing exciting startups coming out of universities. We're seeing increasing collaboration between universities and the local community and local businesses. We're seeing more between universities and industry. I'm really seeing already so many like seedlings of exciting change that are coming. That we hope will lead to more, and next year there'll be even more institutions involved, more exciting stories to tell. I think the most important part of this is collaboration, and I think we've spoken a lot over the last day about breaking down silos, about the importance of us working collaboratively together. And I think we recognise that as a development partner, that the world is changing. It's not the traditional way of just kind of donors coming in and funding process. It's really about partnerships and collaboration and how we can leverage other funds, bringing in private sector, how we can kind of really get this innovation system working as partners through that kind of collaboration. But I don't want to take any more time now myself. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Tony, who's going to say a little bit more about the institutional framework, which I hope you've all got a copy of, and the work that this is involved. And we are then going to invite our Vice Chancellors in to come and give us some stories to tell us about what this actually meant in their institutions. So, Dr. Tony, can I hand over to you?
Thanks very much, Emily. I'll simplify it. We got persuaded that we got to figure out how to improve. But to get that right, we've got to figure out how to measure. Some of our institutions are doing very well in some aspects, and that's great, and others are doing well in different aspects. We're not interested in ranking. We didn't want to spend time trying to say this is a better institution than another, but we were interested in how we're getting better in different aspects of entrepreneurial leadership, commercialization, teaching and learning, and so on and so forth. So to get that moving, what we did is think through the key constructs that we would want to measure. We've got this 10-year innovation master plan that looks into skills, capacity for innovation and entrepreneurship. That's pillar number one. We looked at infrastructural issues, access to infrastructure. We looked at access to funding, access to market, and the policy landscape. Then, you could superimpose that national master plan into institutional level. And so for institutions, we went a little deeper and said, okay, so how do we break some of those things a little more? And so we came up with these 9 or so constructs, starting with leadership, thinking through the funding environment for innovation or for supporting students or faculty. What does the culture look like? What could be the elements of infrastructure to support innovation and transformation? How does the set of partnerships and linkages look like? And, for example, how do you relate to the partnerships that we are building with funding? We can do very well with lots of partners, but then we don't necessarily translate that into some of the things that we want to see. So after we came up with this set of constructs, we also started looking at the variables within each of these constructs that we could measure. And then we went a little further and say, okay, so how do you get the empirical evidence that, yes, this is our state, this is our measure? All right, so what documentation would look at, what evidences would look at, and so forth. Fast forward, we piloted this by creating a tool that somehow gathers that data and gives us some sense of a score. Like I said, this is indication. We're trying to build the confidence that this is a good indicator, not trying to measure one versus another, but trying to see as a self-reflection point, how should I shape my strategy for improvement, for growth, for getting a little better. This whole system was built into a scale of 1 to 5. level 1 to 5. Level 1 being more teaching and learning foundational institution, and the very end is more like a world-class entrepreneurial institution. All right, so we started off with the pilot, and we worked with 14 universities, and yesterday I gave a small hint of our performance. Most of our institutions would somewhere be between 2 leaning towards a 3, and many leaning towards the center of 2, and a little bit others towards a 1. And we're looking to scale this now to the 25 universities. After 2 years, we come back to the same institution and do another deep dive to see how we're performing. But in between there will be elements of just follow through, engagements, and see how we're performing. Now, we are also designing interventions. For example, when we do the ELTP, trying to do capacity building at DVC level, VC levels, and so forth, is a way of trying to strengthen the pillar 1 on leadership. When we do the startup school, for example, trying to support the people who teach entrepreneurship, we're looking at how do we intervene in the level of entrepreneurship teaching and learning to make it a little more modern and a little more sensitive to realities that we're dealing with as a society. And so on and so forth. So from an innovation agency standpoint, we've got intervention to support those pillars, and we are seeing translation also happening at institution level where vice chancellors are actually leading in intervening at those construct level. And our hope is that, you know, more institutions, as I had Vice Chancellor University of Nairobi, as the chair of the new council, pitch more and get more institutions to come on board. The aspiration is that as many of us as possible will participate in this framework. That's only but a piece. This whole piece fits into the national system of innovation. This year, the Innovation Agency, we're starting to look into parastatals, we're looking into the TVETs, we're looking a little bit into innovation hubs, and we've developed a maturity framework for ESOs, enterprise support organizations. So gradually, we're building a national system that is contextualized to each of these ecosystems as we build a stronger system of measurement and evaluation. And I look forward to us owning this as our tool and mainstreaming it in our institutions, not because it came from KeNIA or was supported by a partner X, Y, and Z, but because it's a true way of self-improvement. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much for that, Dr. Tony. I know most of you in the room. I'm Monica Blajescu. I'm the head of education at the British Council, and we're segueing into the next phase of this session. As Dr. Tony mentioned, we started upon this process with our view of the world, and now it's become a collaborative, collective view of the world and how change happens. And at the end of the day, the framework that we developed is only as good as our ambition. We started upon this process with a desire to help break silos. Silos which we know exist within institutions, silos that exist within sectors and between sectors. We've made some headway and we have progressed. We've also started upon this process with a very strong belief that working together, higher education institutions can become stronger. And by learning from each other, they can improve the sector and make a significant contribution to social economic development in the country. So we have our assumptions about how change happens, but the framework that Dr. Tony talked about fundamentally looks at institutional strengthening. How do institutions grow when it comes to entrepreneurship and innovation? And leadership is such an important part of that, as we've seen over the years. We at the British Council have been supporting in a humble way developments here in Kenya and in partnership with the UK for many years. And we've seen fantastic projects that lead to impact at community level, for students, for researchers, so on and so forth. But often we notice that these projects don't go beyond just a project at the scale and at the pace that we know is possible. So what change needs to take place within a university, within an institution of higher learning, to maintain the impact of those projects, to bring about the change that is needed to truly transform the institution? So, as we've heard over the last day or so, the network, and huge thanks to Prof. Hutchinson for now being the chair. I want to acknowledge the previous chairs of the network. We focused on bringing the leaders to be champions of the journey of their institution to entrepreneurship and innovation. And I'd like to turn now to a few of the vice chancellors, a few of the leaders in the room, to help us understand how that change process happened in their own institution. So I'd like to first go to Prof. Gatero, because I can see him here. We are flipping a bit the classroom today, as we said. We're not going to be looking up there. We're just moving a bit around the room. And Prof. Gatero, I'm wondering if you want to come up here next to me. I put you on the spot because I could see you first. And Prof. Gatero, really, could you share with us all 2 changes that you feel you are able to drive in your institution over the last couple of years of being part of this process, that you think have been the most transformational for IARA's journey to entrepreneurship and innovation?
Well, good morning. Yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot. It's difficult to pick 2. It's difficult to pick 2 when you've been on a journey for a year, almost 2 years actually. So for us, I'll try and summarize it. So for us as IARA, from inception, our institutional motto has been nurturing innovators. And for the last 10 years, we've been grappling with how do we achieve that motto. Besides many other things, we've been doing regulatory requirements, which culminated in the award of charter to the university earlier this year. And so we were doing a lot of things here and there in a haphazard way, so to say. And when we engaged with KeNIA and the British Council, it started a bit earlier through the IAU projects, where we were able to win a grant, which helped us to create a virtual accelerator for student enterprises. And so far, we've been able to mentor about 41 or 42 student businesses through the virtual accelerator, and it's something we're expanding further. Number 2 is we realized that we cannot continue to do piecemeal initiatives here and there. We need to do an overhaul of what we do. So we've just finalized our new strategic plan, and I remember we were with Tony at a forum somewhere, I think it was at iHub, and as we were discussing, we realized and I asked the question, which universities are really focusing on building startups? And so I think the challenge was thrown to me, and I said, why can't IARA be the innovation and startups university, not just in Kenya, but in Africa? And so the strategic plan that we have done is now to align everything that we are doing in the institution towards our institutional motto of nurturing innovators, and being in this forum and with the partners that we've had has helped us to really sharpen that focus. And there are so many initiatives that we've had that I can talk about for so long, but I'll leave it there. Really now, our strategic plan 2026 to 2030 is all about innovations and startups. And I think that is the biggest transformation we have seen in the institution. And we look for partnerships, continued partnership. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Prof. Gatero. I really appreciate it. I'll let you have a seat. Let's recognize and appreciate Prof. Gatero. And we will come back to him with questions in a little while. But I think the one thing I take from you, Prof. Gatero, is the importance of alignment and harmonizing and giving that visibility to yourself as a Vice Chancellor, giving the visibility to the Council for your area of focus and how everything you do is structured around that ambition that you have. So well done to IARA, and we wish you success in the years to come. Let's appreciate him once again. Now, one of the things that I've been discussing as part of this process with many of you in the room, but also in particular with the Vice Chancellor, has been how do we go away from one-size-fits approach? We know one-size-fits approach does not work. We developed a framework that hopefully offers sufficient flexibility where each institution can go through a bit of soul searching. There are 3 main functions to universities. It's teaching and learning, it's knowledge development and research, and it's community engagement. So who are we to say that entrepreneurship and innovation and being a masterclass institution, you need to be the best at all 3 levels?
So one of the things that we've been encouraging actively the universities taking part in this process is to say, yes, you are aiming to be a 5 on that maturity framework, but maybe what you should do is be a 5 just in teaching and learning. How about if you become the best institution there is in terms of how you develop the skills of the young people on entrepreneurship? How about if you just become the best institution there is in terms of the research and knowledge development around enterprise development? Or you may be the best institution when it comes to your community service. So we are hopeful that that process that's underway might lead to some of you in the room standing up and saying, I'm very fine, I'm very comfortable with being a 3 around how entrepreneurial and innovative I am on my research, because my focus is on teaching and learning. Because a vibrant sector, a national sector, requires a bit of everything. And this is where the point around niche comes into play. I'm going to turn to Prof. Peninalu, if that's okay. I can see her there. Prof, come join me. Masai Mara University. Prof. Peninalu is the Vice Chancellor at Masai Mara. Prof, what have been 2 changes at Masai Mara that you have made in the last few years that you think will make Masai Mara be the best that it can be, given its niche, given its positioning? You know, you're in the proximity of the beautiful Masai Mara. What does it mean to Masai Mara University to be as good as it can be in entrepreneurship and innovation? Prof, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I think, like my brother would say, it has been a long journey, and picking just 2 things that we have done can be difficult, but I'll wait through Monica. We started this journey in 2023. Allow me to recognize my team, Masai Mara University team. Where are you? Please stand and wave. That is my team. Please give them a clap. That is the team that is driving Masai Mara University innovation ecosystem. Monica, the 2 things that I can pick out of the many is, number 1, we did this trip to India. And what I learned there was enormous. We learned about commercialization of research. We learned about university-industry linkage. We learned about the involvement of faculty in coming up with patents. And that really challenged my mind, including students and undergraduate students. And so what we have done at Masai Mara University, number 1, when I came back from this benchmark sensitization of everybody, we started with the university management. We went to Senate, we went to Council, and the entire Masai Mara University is now sensitized on innovation. Second thing that we have done is curriculum review. We told ourselves that if we don't change the curriculum, then we are on a trip to nowhere. The first years that have come this year, they are going to do a core course in entrepreneurship. Everybody is going to do that course. What we also did is that we got a speaker who came to talk to them during innovation, during orientation, and therefore innovation talk formed part of the orientation. The second thing that we have done is to create platforms. And you saw yesterday I got my trophy. I was very proud of that. For Innovation Club at Masai Mara University, we have a very vibrant student innovation club. What we have also done is to create champions. We call them innovation champions. These people have been trained. They are the ones who are engaging with staff, such that if you are developing a proposal, we want to look at the innovation in that proposal before you start that work, so that we don't just do research for the sake of research. So these are some of the changes that we have done. The council, I had to do a lot of work, Monica, to lobby them. We reviewed our strategic plan. And I told them we have started this journey of being an entrepreneurial university. We cannot achieve anything if we don't embed it in our strategic plan. Our vision has changed. It has captured innovation. Innovation is part of our core values. And if you look at our strategic plan 2024-2029, it's all speaking about innovation. And also, I convinced them to allocate funds for innovation. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Prof. Peninalu. Let's recognize her once more and her team there at the back. So important, again, making sure that there is alignment across the institution, making sure that the Senate is on board, and that the colleagues who are doing all the work day in and day out are being recognized and appreciate that their efforts to promote entrepreneurship and innovation at the institutional level is actually aligned with the strategic direction of the organization. I'm going to turn to a couple of people here who seem to be seated at the same table. And Prof. Achieng, Prof. Emily Achieng from JUICE, could I please come to you and very briefly pick up the two things that have been, in your view, most transformational? What has been kind of that tipping point that you think is going to unlock the potential at JUICE from your perspective? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Good morning, gentle ladies and men. I think two things from 2023 is pushing it, but let's push it. For me, one of the things that we keep saying is that we need to make a direct and immediate impact on the community, and innovation needs to be in the heart of it. The first thing is taking advantage of all the training opportunities that have been provided. The Vice Chancellor has been trained, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Prof, please stand, is in that program. We have a TTO person in another training program. And we've got Dr. Museve, where you, who keeps telling me the difference between one and two things. I saw my research director. Is somebody else here? Have I left anybody? So that's plus me. That's us. and this has been very useful. That trip to India, we had an institutional working group. We've also been involved in the research to commercialization process. And we have a students innovation club. And I wondered, I'm still asking my colleagues why I didn't get a trophy. But anyway, now out of that, one thing that we have ensured we did was to establish a technology transfer office, because we've got to fish for any ideas that look like innovation and work with it. And we have our one dedicated person in that office who is not going to take away time from class or from research to deal with technology, but that is going to be his full focus. In short, we are embedding innovation in the planning within the university, to the extent that the word innovation has also found itself, I think, in our, is it in the vision or in the mission in our new strategic plan. And in embedding innovation, the whole issue of IP registration, etc., is important, so that in this year's performance contract targets, we're going beyond expecting research or expecting academic staff to just publish. The whole idea of innovation or IP registration is going to be part of it. The other thing is partnership. We're not going it alone. And so we are looking for anything that is happening onto which we can plug, something that will help us with our innovation and entrepreneurial activities. The Ministry of Education often has some projects, programs, and we found one that we could hold on to, the Higher Education, Science and Technology 2 project that is funding some developments, so that we expand the context for innovation. I think there's a lot of innovation that is expected from science and technology. And if you do not have a strong science and technology program, then you might just be disadvantaged. So that is one thing that's going to help us. The last one, please. Again, not going alone. What we have done is to try and bring all the researchers into one space, create cohesion. And so we have fora where conversations happen with many of the principal investigators, and we get to see what they have together. So under the Research Directorate, we have then created 3 centers as an opportunity to bring the researchers to sit together, perhaps share what they are learning and see how that happens. The impact We are consciously looking out for innovations and innovators and going beyond the university. I think right now we're in the process of working with somebody who is external to the university to register their IP. I hope that is helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Chiang. We appreciate that. And important to hear about the importance of creating those communities of practice within the institutions in particular. And we will be watching closely your journey, and I'm sure others in the room will be learning from you the same way that you will continue to learn from them as well. We appreciate your leadership. One last Vice Chancellor I'm going to pick before we are going to flip it a bit onto some students who are with us here today. Prof. Moshiri, could I come to you, and just in the interest of time, that's what happens when you are the last one in the line, could you just pick the two? We are all familiar with the fantastic successes and some great impact stories emerging from Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. But from your leadership position, what advice do you have today to give to other leaders in the room here in terms of those two changes that have been transformational from your perspective at DECUT?
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll be very brief. And first of all, the most important thing, and I'm very grateful for FCDO and the support we've gotten under the institutional support, because the case for DECUT, I would say, is the opportunity that meets preparedness. And indeed, we are very happy because of the capacity building of entrepreneurial and innovation champions. Kindly let me recognize my entrepreneurial champions, starting with our DVCAA, Dr. Tanui, Dr. Monica is outside. So DECUT team, kindly stand. Thank you. Capacity building of the champions is very important, because we always say you cannot give what you do not have. You have to get it for you to transmit it. And now we have a big team, essentially in every department, around 30 innovation and entrepreneurial champions who are championing research and innovation in the department. The first thing we did, the second thing essentially is the strategy, because strategy is very important in delivering the whole objective. So we have done an extensive master plan which have addressed and put innovation and commercialization as a key pillar and a major objective in the university. I have a committee that is literally looking at research mainstreaming with the end in mind towards a net product that can be commercialized. We have an innovation committee that is basically sourcing every innovation and seeing how it can reach the market. And one of the key advantages we have are our specialized research centers. Right now we have 26 functional centers targeting real societal problems, developing real solutions, and we want to see how those solutions can reach the market in terms of a final product. I think those are two major drivers, and somebody has been talking about one of our key products is DECUT Premier Coffee. And please, if you want the best coffee in the country, grown, processed in Dedan Kimathi University, you can see Dr. Tanui right there. It is AAA quality. And I always say you can only find it in DECUT or in London Stock Exchange. So kindly talk to us. Thank you.
Fantastic. Prof. Moshiri, thank you so much for that. Well, we do have a few more hours for the remainder of the day today, both during the break and during lunch break. So if you haven't yet had a chance to speak to those 4 leaders who I'm grateful stood up and shared a bit of their insight, and there's many more of you in this room who have a lot to share, please do that. I had a very insightful conversation the other day with Prof. Vincent from Strathmore University, and we're also talking about how institutions change, because in some cases, you do need that strategy, you do need that council, that senate to drive from the top. In some cases, there's a lot already happening. So how do you maintain a quiet appreciation of what is happening and bring it all together and influence and inform that institutional change process? There are different models out there that I'm sure will need to fit with your institutional values, with your institutional ethos. But what we are hopeful is that this framework that we've supported in a small way KeNIA to develop and take forward with you is going to be impactful, that you will be able to take this and turn it into your own framework within your institution and make sure that after that soul-searching exercise of assessing and understanding what are your strengths, what are your gaps, you will set an ambition that you will stay on course for delivering against. And do engage the leaders in the room today for the remainder of the day to hear about their story and their journey. We are the British Council, and we fundamentally believe in building connections, understanding, and trust. And that's why we engage with people, we engage with leaders, but we most importantly engage with young people. And we have a few young people in the room today who some of you may have noticed joined us towards the second half of yesterday. Some students in some of the 25 universities that are now part of this process of institutional strengthening and institutional change. I'm going to pass it on to Njeri, my colleague from across the fence, the High Commission, as we say, who is going to engage with the students so that they can share their story. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause for Monica and the VCs. So by way of introduction, my name is Njeri Geshohe. I am with the UK's East Africa Research and Innovation Hub, based out of the British High Commission in Nairobi. So in the words of a very able MC, one of the things we are here to do in the course of the 2 days is to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So what Monica has said, we are joined by some of our young innovators and entrepreneurs, and let's also learn from them, let's hear from them. So I'll ask them to join me, starting with Victoria. Please come and join me here. So as you introduce yourself, please let us know what change was put in place from your respective institution that positively impacted you and gave you the courage and support to start your entrepreneurial journey. If I may ask for another microphone, please.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Maura. I am a student at Strathmore University. I have a project that is creating a company called Provision. Our aim is to create assistive technology for people with vision impairment. So to answer your question, you said a change that was introduced in our institution to help me on my entrepreneurial journey. So I remember early before I thought of starting a company, all I had was an idea. And I remember there was this partnership that Strathmore had with Standard Chartered where they would have a Women in Tech program. And so it was it finalizes at around October, November, and I had not taken part. So I just went in for the final graduation ceremony, and I was very excited to see how women were being encouraged in such a journey. So at the end of 2023, they sent out an email that was another partnership with Queen's University in Canada. So it was the Dunning-Dishpande Queen's Innovation Program that would partner with Strathmore to help students, just in case you had an idea and you wanted to grow into, you were thinking of going the innovative and entrepreneurial way. So I would say one thing would be partnerships, and the partnerships enable you to get access to things that you don't have, for example, in Kenya. And it would have been, I know probably looking for a hub that would have probably taught me for free would have been difficult. And being a student and being in Strathmore enabled me to get access to that partnership with Queen's University. Another thing would be the competitions where they would encourage you to come and just test out what you have. And you know, when you're amongst students, you're like, you think you can have an easier shot as compared to when it's something that is very broad. And so they had this thing that's called the Ideas Festival, and it nurtures people who have an entrepreneurial idea. And so once you win the competition, you are also able to get access to funding. And so, yeah, we took part and we won, and that really boosted our confidence and our belief in our entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. I hope I've answered.
Yeah, perfect. Nailed it. Another round of applause for her. So there's something there around the role of partnerships that helped unlock the role of institutional level partnerships that helped unlock greater markets, funding, and support. I'll call upon Cheryl. Cheryl, where are you? Maybe come closer up for the benefit of those who might be on the other end of the room. Yes, so please introduce yourself and I'll repeat the question for you.
Okay, good morning. I'm Cheryl Boya, a student currently having completed my computer science degree at Riara University. I'm also an innovator and an entrepreneur, having or rather managing 3 organizations that I've been developing for the last 5 years. Now, I'm going to break your question in 2 different ways. One is the positive and one is the aspirational to enable us understand what events or what programs we can actually evolve to make it more accommodating for young innovators, young creatives, and young entrepreneurs. Now, I currently have an innovation that addresses sustainable food solutions. Basically, it's called Snack It, which is edible tableware. You know, your cup, plate, spoon, cutlery, instead of it being in plastic form, it's now in an edible format. Now, the same way you eat your ice cream cone after having your ice cream or gelato is the same way you can eat your cup, plate, spoon, fork, any cutlery, even chopsticks. And it's completely sustainable and safe for, thank you, it's safe for the entire ecosystem, for anyone regardless of their dietary restrictions and persuasions, for the animals, fishes, the plants, it's completely sustainable. Now, that particular solution is currently in market readiness, having developed it for the last 4 years with Kenya Airways and also with some support from Riara University. Now, also developing an AI-powered healthcare tool that brings healthcare closer to marginalized communities. Now, one of the things that I found really helpful during my studies at Riara is the space and the ecosystem to actually develop my innovation and my idea. Now, at the time I was undertaking my computer science, coursework, I was also undertaking my legal coursework. I was doing 3 courses: computer science, law, and embedded systems engineering, developing innovations, and all this. Now, Riara was able to create an innovation, or rather an environment for me that I'm able to fully immerse myself, not just in my different courseworks, but also in my innovation and entrepreneurial journey. The other thing I also found very instrumental was the fact that the school has a unit that every single student undertakes, regardless of your course, and you're able to undertake it. It's entrepreneurship, where it helps students thought they actually wanted to be on the entrepreneurship path. They're able to now get into teams, ideate, and develop the ideas. And at the end of the semester, you're able to now pitch it to external partners, and you're able to now create a solution that you can even pivot after your coursework. The last thing I think was very instrumental was immersive collaborations. Now, I normally say that I don't just leave Riara with a certificate, but with a sustainable partner in my different organizations, because Riara has completely immersed itself as a sustainable partner, and also by introducing various partners who are instrumental in my journey. Now, on the aspirational part, where we could see more programs evolving not just within the institution, but also within other institutions, is on the aspect of funding. Now, every single time I am in any particular forum, whether it's innovation, whether it's climate change, as I'm a climate advocate, whether it's children forums, as I'm also a children advocate, I normally talk about funding being a very key aspect of youth ideas and youth creativity. Now, this is the reason. The young population is the most innovative and the most creative population, or rather generation. And Africa is blessed to be the continent with the largest population, or rather the largest youth population. Now, if young people have ideas, if young people have creative ambitions, and they're not able to actually actualize it, and they actually die on the shelf because of lack of funding, are we actually doing our continent justice? Are we doing our nation justice? Because at the end of the day, for us to create, for us to be able to develop our products to tangible solutions, for you to actually see the cup, which I actually have but forgot to bring it, for you to actually see the cup with me here, it needs money. It needed me, to take several trips to India, to China, to look at various machinery, various products that I could be able to develop for it to be everything free, gluten-free, dairy-free, and all this. So it needs money, it needs machinery. And without the funding, without sustainable seed funding, then we're not able to actualize it. Now, the way that this could actually work is through strategic partnerships, where the institution and various external partners are able to work around getting substantive seed funding. Substantive seed funding, $500 is not substantive seed funding, as it could push us just a tiny bit towards the step, but it won't get us further than we would love to do. So sustainable seed funding would actually go a very long way to helping more youth become more innovative, more creative, not just for their own betterment, but also the betterment of our country and the betterment of our continent. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I could see Professor Gacheru there beaming with joy. Something there around the role of sustainable and strategic partnerships, creation of an enabling or conducive environment, and embedding entrepreneurship as part of the curriculum or education journey. Thank you so much, Cheryl. So could I call upon Rachel? Please let's give a round of applause as she comes up.
I was just a student with an idea. I was just a student who didn't know how to implement the idea, and I didn't know who to go to. I would basically say I was ignorant. Let me use that. But now I'm a mental health ambassador, so I wanted to develop a platform whereby if you need mental health support, you can join the platform, you can be part of the platform without being so I saw an opportunity in the BCSEO grant, and I decided to try it and see how it works out. So I applied for this grant, very confident that I would get it. get you to the PCN CEO of KeNIA University. So after that, again, they like lift me up to the staff and to other companies. For example, I visited a company called when New West begins talent chapels, where I got to know staff there. I got to learn how they deal with mental health patients. Myself, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm just a developer, but a manufacturing developer. So, again, I they follow up. They really make sure you are heading at the right path and they hold your hand all the way. So, yeah, anyway, coming back to your question, so it's funding, which is a very important thing when it comes to innovation, especially for the young people. Yeah, membership of the innovation and any partnership. Thank
countries in Africa. And I can say thank you to KCA first of all, because at least half of the population came from the Tech Expo. And due to that visibility space I got from that chance, it's very easy for me to go out there and say that I'm a student from KCA with a certain project and actually get people to listen to me. If it weren't for the exposure I got that time, I definitely would not be where I am right now. And something else is inclusivity. I love the fact that KCA usually includes students in, like, you can actually pitch your idea to the innovation chairman, and they're going to follow up and actually correct you if they think that it has, you can be corrected if they think that you believe in yourself. First of all, you have to believe in yourself, because honestly speaking, if you don't believe in what you're selling, then nobody else can. So I think that visibility and inclusivity has really helped me get to where I am from the school.
Thank you so much. And I like what you've talked about, inclusivity, carrying along people in the entrepreneurial journey. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I'll invite my colleague Mary, and a round of applause for Ivy. Thank you so much. So I'll hand it over to Mary to take us through the next bit.
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Ndimuri. I'm the program manager for higher education at the British Council in our Nairobi office. We are going to flip it a bit, our forward look. We'll be speaking to students. If I can call Alex and Samson please to join us, just in the interest of time. you. All right, so we will focus on the forward look for unities, particularly your institutions and other institutions in your room. So I'll ask each of you to introduce yourselves first, and then I'll revert to you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Alexander Njuguna. Not a student, but I'm the innovations officer at KCA University. I'm the one who works with the students, as they say, the journey from ideation all the way to the incubation to getting them to market. And I'm proud to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Samson Muturi. I'm a fourth-year student at KCA University. I am CEO and founder of two companies. So one is FarmWise. We provide smart farm equipment solutions to farmers, smallholder farmers in the poultry space. And also CEO and founder, thank you. CEO and founder of Enabled, which are powered smart glasses for the paired. And just to be inclusive, for visual description, a young man, young black man with an afro. My shirt is written, not your average uni, KCA branded, with jeans and some sneakers. So your average developer.
Thanks, Samson. So the question, I'll read out. Can start with you, Alex. What advice do you have for your institutions and moving forward that can support students and young innovators in their innovation and entrepreneurship journeys?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Just to start, actually, as you can see, Living Testament, it's been an honor. It's always an honor to work with young minds. Young minds always also keeps you young. That's why most of the time I'm mistaken to be a student. Yeah, but working with the students has changed my mentality. You see, even as we are talking about from the managerial perspective, from the vice chancellors, the deputy vice chancellors, but being now next to the students also advises even at KCA University, even when we are structuring our models, how to work with students. And moving forward, I got the privilege as KCA, we got the privilege to be part of the learning and design labs, as it was presented yesterday by Grace Cameron Circle Innovation, which was funded by the British Council. And from that, it was quite enabling to see, it was quite motivating to see how students operate when you immerse them now to the real world problems. And from one of the key takeaways from that learning and design is that innovation should not be for the people, but you should innovate with the people. Innovating with the people actually is more, it creates a more inclusive innovation, and that is more commercializable. Because in the learning and design, the main experience we had this structure where we were to take through the students for them to go and look into a problem in one of the industrial partners. But when they got there, we actually realized what we were planning for them to innovate was not the actual problem. And so we had to adjust the model all over again. And having the human-centered design is actually a perspective that we look forward as KCA University to have it immersive, to be an immersive vision with the people who are the actual beneficiaries of the innovations that we are building. So moving forward, it's quite something that as KCA University also we are looking forward to have a more immersive innovation process with the people, working with the people, to innovate for the people, such that even when you're getting the commercialization phase, it's quite also evens it, because this is something that is going to be more receptive to the people because it was built with them. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Alex. Innovate with the people. Samson, over to you. Would you like to put a question?
So again, I'm used to being behind the laptop, so I'm going to try and be as clear as I can be and bring out my point clearly. So like advice and what would assist like universities and the innovation ecosystem to grow. I will say I will try to divide it into innovation and entrepreneurship because they're not the same thing. They intertwine, but they're not the same thing. So innovation is not always about entrepreneurial success, like not always. And some projects that might fail in terms of commercial, like fail commercially, might build critical skills for innovation. So what do I mean by this? So what I would advise is like experimentation mostly. So you see, for projects like crazy projects like robotics, self-driving cars, if you look at the biggest companies, everyone has a story. The biggest things that have come out from humanity always have a story because they're always things that are not conventionally uh, normal. So my advice for universities, not specifically for KCA, but anyone in the innovation and entrepreneurship space, will be to direct a bit more funding and a bit more attention to experimentation projects. Yeah. And also, I would say for students mostly, it's all about attention. So most students have the skills. We have amazing brains in Kenya, in Africa, in the whole world. But normally we don't access that potential properly. So I will say, like, for students, it's more about driving their attention to a specific place. So crazy projects, I'm a big advocate of those crazy projects. I'm doing AI-powered smart classes as a student. It's crazy as well. So I will say, like, being those crazy projects are what turns the attention of most students or most people in the innovation space to kind of wonder, to kind of ask themselves the question, what else could I do? For example, I saw an article before I started like the innovation and all that. I saw an article that University of Nottingham had done like a self-driving car. Even before like Tesla, they got some funding for a self-driving car. That's not a commercially successful project, but it's something that will turn the attention of most people to look at, okay, how much can I push this? And because of that, gain skills or look at different ways to build now commercially successful projects. So that's.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Samson. So we had about funding and experimentation. Thank you all. So I'll call upon Emilian just for reactions and to close the session for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary. Brilliant. Well, we are at time, I think, but I just wanted to finish by just saying I hope you found this as engaging and interesting as I have. I mean, I think it's been really valuable hearing from the student innovators themselves. They're the ones we want to work with. When we talk about being innovative, we also need to be innovative in our own processes of how we enhance our entrepreneurial institutions. And I think we're doing it for the students. And I think that point about innovating with rather than innovating for really came out. So a lot of the points that they've spoken about today are things that are covered in the framework, which I hope you all have access to now. We've talked about infrastructure, we've talked about curriculum, we've talked about culture, we've talked about mentorship, the importance of hand-holding and supporting students through this long journey. All of this is in the framework, and if you haven't got a copy on your table, which there should be, please do download it using the QR code here above. And with that, I just want to say a huge thank you to our partners, British Council, for doing this work, and KeNIA for being amazing partners on this, and to the universities, particularly the 4 Vice-Chancellors who've shared their stories today. I think it's really shown us that this isn't a single pathway. There are many different ways we can be doing this, and it's been really valuable seeing the different journeys that everyone is on and how we can learn from one another. And please do take the opportunity in the coffee break to find the Vice-Chancellors, to find the students, to continue these conversations. There's so much learning that we have to gain from speaking to one another. I think that's really the value of opportunities like Ceil Summit. So just to finish, I would really like to invite all of those who've spoken today, the Vice-Chancellors and the student entrepreneurs, to come up just so we can do a group photo before we end. And a big thanks to everyone.
Amazing, amazing. Let's give them a round of applause. We can do better than that. Let's appreciate them once again. Thank you so very much for those testimonials and your presentations. And congratulations to all the students.
I couldn't resist this. I'm the Vice Chancellor. Innovation there's something magical about it. So when I was in New York, I met this Google guy and I asked him, which problem are you solving? And he said, I want the blind to see. And then two of the students here seem to be attacking the same problem. So you have Muturi from KCA and Victoria from Strathmore. And when you spoke, I just thought about that moment, and maybe you can create the magical moment. Muturi said, there's the commercialization part, then there's the innovation creativity part, which is really magical, where you just go after a complex, interesting problem, whether it can make money or not. So why don't the two of you just give us a 1-minute pitch of how you're trying to make the blind see, what motivated you to come up with that innovation, and how exactly are you doing it? But it's 1 minute because people need to go for a break. So who do we start with? Muturi, Victoria, who wants to go first? Okay, Muturi, you've been volunteered by Victoria. So Muturi, KCA, where's Muturi? So those are 3 questions. How are you making the blind see? So what motivated you to make the blind see? And how exactly are you doing that?
Thank you. I'm back here once again. So first of all, I'll start by talking about what Enable is. So I said AI-powered smart glasses for the visually impaired, a bit vague. So what they do is, first of all, they have a camera and they are voice controlled. So basically, for example, I can ask it, what do you see? What am I holding? How many people are there in this room? So visual description of what context is around there, okay? And the second biggest thing is navigation, which is one of the biggest issues for people with visual impairment. And for example, you have a room in Pride Inn, say room 1, and you just you came from it. So what it does, it marks entrances, exit, important places. And if I say, I'm here and I say, okay, I want to go back to my room, take me to my room. So it kind of backtracks the path and takes you to it, telling you, person coming, slide right, slow down, stop, turn to your left, keep moving forward. So already we have the software working, trying to move into the hardware. So in terms of motivation, most people, especially in the assistive tech space, normally have motivation from a personal effect. But for me, I loved Iron Man growing up, if you've watched Iron Man. And I wanted to build something similar because, again, I'm an advocate for crazy projects. And we were invited by KeNIA, which is Kenya Institute for Special Education, for the expo. And when we went there, I had like some part of the software like working, asking it some things, and it answered. And KCA told me just go get a stand and kind of tell them what you're doing. And as I talked to the people there, they were like, this is so amazing. We have nothing that does this. This is something that could change the space. And the more people told me that, the more I started to see that I personally, there's something I can do to change someone's life. There's something that I can do to help people become inclusive. And that, for me and the company, what I mark as success. Revenue is something big. Again, we all want to make money, but my milestone for success is how many people have I affected and how many people are happier because I exist or my software exists.
Good morning again. So I'll start by the second question. What motivated me to start? Okay, again, as I said, my name is Victoria. I have a company called Provision Site Africa. We are also making assistive technology. We still have glasses as well. What motivated me to start this project was, okay, for me it was a bit of a personal, but not directly to me. It was one of my grandfather's sisters. She suffered from glaucoma, and for a while it was quite an. You say the way glaucoma manifests, like it's slow, but then they only came to attend to it when it was too late. And so by that time, around 2023, she went blind, and that was really destabilizing for her because she had been an active farmer, and now, in the rural areas, if you have, okay, like if you've been to places that are very hilly, which is like where she lives, so technically going up is going to your house or like to the gate is such a place that you can't even navigate with something like a walking cane. So that really scared me, that all her life is now reduced to sitting down and waiting for someone to come and hold you, take you to the kitchen, take you to the bathroom or something like that. She was not allowed to do anything that she had dedicated her life to. So that was really scary for me. And coming to realize that glaucoma actually ran in my dad's family was, again, very scary. It can happen to anyone you know. So this really motivated me now to start asking myself, what changes when you go blind? Because not everyone is born blind, and most of the people who find it most difficult are the ones who go blind later in life. So you're used to seeing everything that's around you, and then suddenly it's not there. So that was what motivated me. And so I started asking myself, what do you do with your eyes? So you can see the room, you can read the text, you can identify people without them having to talk to you. So that is what provision does. So we help the person navigate, especially indoors where you can't tell where, that if you enter a new room, like for example, if I were a visually impaired person entering this room, I'd probably struggle a bit to get to my chair. So provision has an assistive glasses that are audio controlled as well, but also communicate to you using audio. They tell you how to navigate from where you are to your intended destination. For example, you're looking for an empty chair in the room. You want to read what is on your book, or what is being displayed on the board. Because again, in as much as it's content for people with visual impairment, how often are your university materials translated to Braille? And so that was something that really was a challenge for me. So again, also helping identify people, helping identify people, and now our next technology is about helping those ones who are deaf and blind as well, and that is what provision is about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you so much to all the innovators in the room. I think the challenge that the implementers of the program we have is to train on how to do a 1-minute elevator pitch. Yeah, if I was to judge on that, then I would have reduced the marks. Thank you so much. I think we are already encouraged and energized just hearing from the innovators, right? All right, so I want us to stand on our feet. We will not do any exercise, but I want you just to stretch a little bit as I invite the moderator for the next session. Kindly just stand and just stretch a little bit. You can just stretch.